On YouTube, this is the LA Prepper, and today we're going to talk about prepping for dinosaur invasions. Oh god, where'd he go? No, I'm just kidding. This is going to be a VR to SOS's video 5 SHTF topics preppers think they have all figured out. This is a really great video, and I'm going to do a video response because I think it was a great video. And I would encourage all of my prepper friends to make a video about it as well. Man, it is. Whew, I just went for a walk up the street and it is warm. I just rinsed my head in the shower. Favorite ways to cool down. Where's my water? Oh no, So, how you doing, YouTube? I've been busy doing stuff, trying to get a job, trying to finish school. Few weeks left, counting down, man, and I haven't started on my paper, but I do have a bunch of sources for my paper, which is kind of one of the big headaches. Fortunately, it's just a literature review, so I don't have to get too analytical. In case any of you are curious, I'm doing a literature review on vortex generators. Very, very cool technology that is a great way to, well, I don't want to talk about vortex generators. I mean, I do, but it's not really related to prepping. How to save 1% of 1% on your gas bills by installing vortex generators on your bug out vehicle. I mean, I guess I could relate it to prepping, but let's get into the video. So, number 1, fitness. And again, this is 5 topics preppers think they have all figured out. Fitness. Fitness is important for a lot of reasons. It's important because it's useful. It's important because it'll keep you healthy. Being fit people tend to be healthier than non-fit people. Of course, there's a lot of things about your lifestyle if you're more fit that tend to lead to healthier living versus being less fit can be difficult on your health for a variety of reasons. Let's talk about some different types of fitness, and I'll try to share a little bit about my own experience in this arena as it's appropriate. So we have strength, stamina, speed, dexterity, and flexibility. Also going to talk about disability as it relates to fitness, as well as special health considerations, those being maybe something like allergies, or like asthma, or a certain condition like diabetes, things sort of like that, individual to different individuals. Wow, that was some high caliber vernacular right there. But anyways, so what's my present level of fitness? Well, as most people can tell looking at me, I'm a pretty skinny SOB. Most of that's because of my DNA. It's not because I hate push-ups, although I do hate push-ups. But, and you know, one of these days I'm going to do some fitness videos, like how many pull-ups can you do, how many push-ups can you do, how many sit-ups can you do. I probably won't do how fast can you run a mile, because I loathe running. I ran 20 miles a week in high school for 3 years, and the only thing I got out of it was sore feet, sore legs. It's exhausting. Oh my gosh, running is exhausting. But, so a lot of people look at me and think, wow, the guy's kind of skinny, he's probably weak. I'm not weak. I don't know if I'd call myself strong. Strong's a relative term. I could lift an 80-pound bag of concrete. It would be maybe a little harder for me to lift an 80-pound bag of concrete than someone who works out a little bit regularly, but fortunately I don't have to lift 80-pound bags of concrete very often, so it's not really a big deal. My biggest challenge with strength is that unless I work out consistently 3 or 4 times a week, I just can't keep on the weight or the muscle mass. I'm not losing weight right now, but I would need to eat about 1,000 more calories a day, give or take, if I was going to work out like that. Not impossible, obviously, but My biggest sort of, I have a gym at the school that I could go work out, and I really have, just not the biggest fan of working out. I like being active. I like doing active sports, but just working out for the sake of sort of being stronger, you know, it's something that I've sort of struggled with again, like I said, because I kind of have to keep that consistent regimen. If I take 2 or 3 weeks off, like anyone, I sort of lose a lot of that bulk. Stamina, I definitely would rate myself a little higher on the stamina ranking. I can jump on the bike and ride 25 miles if I need to. I can put a backpack on and walk 15 or 20 miles. Now, 15, 20 pound, 30 pound pack is one thing. 50, 60, 70 pound pack, that's a different level of stamina. Speed, I'm pretty quick. Running wise, I guess in other quick ways, I don't know, I'm pretty good at catching things, quick reflexes. Speed is there's a lot of different ways you can be fast. I don't know if I can throw a punch faster than average, but I'm not much of a fighter, nor am I much of a boxer, so martial arts might be in my future if I can get a full-time job. A lot of the studios, martial arts studios, are like $100 a month, which is not an unfair price. Usually that's 2 or 3 times a week, maybe 2 times a week. So, 8 classes for $100 is pretty reasonable, but just not really in my budget right now. Or at least it's not high enough in my priority. I suppose I could work it in my budget, but it's just not high enough in my priority. So there's speed, dexterity, flexibility. I'm pretty dexterous, good with my hands. Flexibility, yeah, on a 1 to 10 scale, I'd rate myself maybe a 6. Not the most flexible person. I'm not the least flexible person, but not the most flexible person. So disability and special health considerations. If you have asthma or, allergies or diabetes, there's some things you can do to try to kind of improve your health condition in those areas. At the same time, you can only kind of work so much with what you have. So, maybe it would be better for a medical professional to go into, how to prep if you have asthma, or things to consider while prepping if you have diabetes. Diabetes in particular is a real scary thing to think about in regards to prepping, because if you can't get an insulin shot if you need some insulin, you're kind of in trouble. You can, if you're low on sugar, you can eat some sugar, but if you're high on sugar, that's kind of the issue, right? High glucose levels, that is. So what can you do to improve your fitness, and what are some excuses that a lot of people make in regards to fitness? I've shared a few excuses. I think one of the big excuses that a lot of, and just speaking kind of from experience, is that individuals tend to sort of look at their current level of activity being significantly different to where they want to get to, and it's kind of discouraging to try to get active. So if let's say you're not someone that's been on like a 10 or a 15 mile hike recently, you might think, well, I can only walk a mile or two and then I get really tired and out of breath, so I don't really feel like going on a 10-mile hike. Perfectly understandable. But with anything, you kind of have to work towards your goals. So, for example, if I went to the gym and started lifting weights, I wouldn't start to try to curl 50 pounds. I would probably start around 25 pounds or maybe 30 pounds. Go from there. Stamina. Stamina is a little harder to train for. You kind of need to do specific stamina training, kind of medium interval stuff. So, if you were looking to get, stamina just isn't necessarily about distance. Being able to run 5 miles is kind of an example of stamina, but it's also an example of endurance. Stamina could be being able to chop wood for 2 hours and not getting tired, or being able to, lift bags of concrete, or move heavy rocks, move stones. Let's say you're doing some landscaping, you're working with cinder blocks. You want to be able to work with cinder blocks for a few hours and not get tired. That kind of thing is a little bit harder to train for, but it is possible. I'm not an expert on stamina training, but it just kind of takes a little bit of time. Speed. Again, speed training is a little bit specific. One of the things that really helps with speed, I think, is kind of tricking your muscles. So if you want to get faster, one thing you'll see kind of like football players and sprinters do is they'll run with weights, they'll run with parachutes, and the reason they're trying to do that is they're trying to train their muscles to sort of fool their muscles into thinking that, this is as fast as I can run with this parachute, right? And they sprint with a parachute on. Then they take the parachute off. Their muscles were sort of working as hard as they could at the resistance level of the parachute. Parachute comes off, and all of a sudden their muscles are kind of like, hey, I can move a lot faster than I realized. I was training with the parachute. Now that the parachute's gone, I can really push a lot harder. So that's kind of an example of, how to get your speed up a little bit. Speed comes from also training. For example, I messed around with the boxing club for a month or so. A friend of a boss, something. And for example, when you want to increase your punch speed, you do things like practice punching with 2 pound, 4 pound, 5 pound weights in each hand. So you punch, all that, and then you let go of the weights, and all of a sudden your muscles are kind of like, wow, now I'm not encumbered and I can move even faster. Flexibility, yoga, really good for flexibility. I did Bikram yoga for a few months, but I got so dehydrated and it just beat the crap out of me every time I did it. Not the flexibility part, but it was hot yoga, so it was like 100-degree room, super high humidity, and it made me so exhausted. It was really valuable. It was really felt great. Great mental exercise too. Just concentrating on the moves for 90 minutes. After I was done with the yoga, you just sort of, your mind is quiet, and my mind is very busy and active and always like blah 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 blah. But after the yoga, you're very zen and calm, and it's kind of unreal, to be honest. I'm sure meditation has similar effects in that arena. One thing I will say for those that have some sort of physical disability that maybe makes it hard for them to be active, especially in weight-bearing exercises, running, jogging, things like that, consider pool work. Swimming pool, not billiards. I don't know if playing billiards is that good of a workout, but in a pool, you weigh a lot less. There's a lot less work on your joints. I remember I used to lifeguard for a couple years and do swim lessons and all that. And one of the things that one of the pools had was pool aerobics. Now, granted, there were a lot of seniors in the pool, but certainly someone at any age can get a benefit from working in the pool. It's a lot easier on your joints. It's kind of fun being in the pool. Mostly, though, it's just a lot easier on your joints. You can do a reclined bicycle and things like that, but you still have the weight on your back, and it may not be comfortable for all individuals. So if there's a pool in your area, swimming is a phenomenal exercise, full body workout, great for aerobic strength, stamina. Swimming is just an amazing workout. I'm not the best swimmer, but I can swim. Actually, probably one of the worst swimmers that the lifeguarding, the lifeguards at my place ever had, but the pool is like 50 feet wide. You didn't really have to swim that far, right? Okay, so let's, we're already at 13 minutes, so let's see if we can not take another 13 minutes to go through the rest of these. Bugging out. Bugging out's not really viable for me at the moment, to be honest. I don't put a lot of time and energy into it for that reason. I have an all-wheel drive car. I have my bug out bag. I could spend 10 or 15 minutes throwing everything into my car. I should probably get that down to about 5 minutes, but for me, bugging out would have to be before shit hits the fan, because there's 8 million people in LA, so, LA County rather. So the idea that I'm going to bug out in my car and make it, really not viable. I think bugging out on a bicycle for me would make a little bit more sense. A bicycle with a wagon or a trailer, or something to that effect, or a couple trailers, trained together. It would be a little bit slower, but a lot more viable as far as, the trailer is the wide part. The bicycle, you don't need that much space, but the trailer, being, 2-3 feet wide, and hopefully not so heavy that I couldn't lift it over a fence if I need to. In fact, that would be a really interesting exercise. lifting a bicycle trailer with a pack on it over, a 6-foot chain link fence or a 6-foot chain link fence with barbed wire. I don't know where I would find a fence that I could practice that on, but that would be a good exercise. So admittedly, I'm not remotely prepared for bug out. I have a car with some gas. I could put some stuff in there, but I don't have a location I would go. A lot of the locations around here would probably be full of people trying to bug out as well. I'm really not set up as far as trying to survive in the wilderness. I mean, if I could find a spot in the wilderness that had some wildlife, make some traps, do a little bit of hunting, I guess I would, I could sort of rough it, but that's going to kind of bring us into number 3, survival skills. I've never hunted, I've never trapped, I barely know any edibles. I could make a shelter, not too worried about the shelter part. I have enough space blankets and tarps and tents to kind of deal with that. Water purification, I mean, for me, probably be boiling water. I don't have any tablets. I've never made a charcoal filter. I might try if I had to, obviously. That is something kind of on my to-do list, is make a charcoal filter and try it out. Even so I could filter my own tap water. Tap water here is not super awesome. So, bushcraft survivalism skills is something that I think is important. I haven't spent a lot of time and energy as of late developing them. I am trying to work a little bit on the water purification stuff. Trying to make some progress on the edible stuff. I really need to add a couple edible books. In fact, let me make some homework for myself here. Homework. Buy book on California edibles. And of course, as soon as I buy the book to California edibles, some company in Arizona or Idaho is going to want to hire me and send me over there. But, maybe I'll share. I guess it's still worth buying the book because I'm here right now. And if I do end up moving somewhere else, I'm sure I can find a prepper in California to take the book off my hands. So that's kind of a homework thing. Make a charcoal filter. Homework item. Making charcoal in and of itself would be a good homework item. Maybe I should go to the dollar, or not the dollar store, but the thrift store and get like an old pot with a lid so I can make some charcoal. It'd be cool to make charcoal in the woods, There's a really cool video, the Primitive Skills channel. You probably heard of it. It's pretty popular. If you haven't, go check out, oh god, let me look for it right now. Primitive Technology. Okay, so the name of the channel is Primitive Technology, and he has a video on making charcoal where he kind of makes this this wooden hut, if you will. Not a hut. Piles up a bunch of wood, then he covers it all with clay. He leaves a little chimney, he lights the wood, and then he basically closes it up, lets it kind of burn and smoke, and then he had a whole giant thing of charcoal. Let me see if I can... Charcoal mound. Yeah, okay, so... This guy made a silly amount of charcoal. Primitive Technology, reusable charcoal mound. So watch that video if you want to learn how to make charcoal in the bush. Just watch this channel in general. If you've never seen the channel, pause the video, open a new window, subscribe to Primitive Technology, and just kind of put it on your to-do list to check out some of his channels. He's a super, super cool guy, and I say that, I don't know him, but just watching all the stuff that he does in his videos, I mean, that guy, I don't know what kind of wildlife there is out there. He doesn't really do a lot of hunting and stuff in the videos, I don't think, but man, talk about valuable team member. If you had somebody like that on your team, wow. Okay, so yeah, my survival skills are out of, if I was going to say 1 out of 10, I would say about a 3 or a 4 right now. I wouldn't be helpless in the woods, but I definitely have a long way to go before I think I could survive in the woods. Okay. And as far as so I talked about shelter, water purification, edibles, trapping and hunting. I did take the hunting class, looking to get my hunting license. Hopefully I'll know whether or not I'm going to be working full-time here or maybe somewhere else before July 1st comes around, because our hunting licenses are good from July through June. So you can believe that if I am going to stay in California, I will get my hunting license and we're going to do a little bit of hunting. Going on to number 4, food storage. Guilty. Yeah, I have about 30 days of food stored, and it's not remotely enough. I've been making excuses like I don't have the space, although I could definitely store 6 months of food in my place and it wouldn't be the biggest deal in the world. Even if I just got, 20-pound bag of rice, that would be an enormous improvement. I make I blame income, having space, rotation, food rotation being an issue. You know, I start buying 20-pound bags of rice. At some point, I'm going to start eating 20 pounds of rice, you know. I think what I'm going to do on the food storage thing, I do have some work, a couple projects coming up. So maybe what I'll do is I'll solicit some advice. I'll make a separate video and ask for advice on if you had $100 to buy some food preps, what would you buy? Would you buy a bucket? Would you buy dehydrated stuff? Would you just buy a bunch of rice and beans? You know, $50. $50 in rice and beans is not a terrible food prep. It's not very exciting. Might not be the most delicious thing in the world, but it's calories. It's certainly not diverse. You need some like vegetables and other things, but you know, $50 rice and beans wouldn't even be a terrible buy. So I need to get at least to 90 days. I really need to get to 90 days. I mean, ideally, I would get to 6 months, but I kind of want to wait before I start going more than 90 days. I kind of want to wait till where I'm going to move, what state I'm going to live in. Because if I get 6 months of food, I'm just going to have to end up transporting all that food with me, and, you know, just kind of a hassle to be just extra space in the U-Haul, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So not the biggest deal in the world, but, and maybe I'm overestimating how much space 6 months of food takes up. You know, I don't know. If you're going rice and beans, maybe less space than a bunch of cans. Cans take up a lot of space, so if you're talking about like 3 cans of something per day with some rice and beans, then that's 90 cans for every month. So, you know, how many cans is that for 6 months? 6, 9, 360? No, 540, right? Yeah, so 90 cans times 6 months is 540 cans. I have room for 540 cans, but if I have to move, I'm not really trying to move 540 cans. Nevertheless, I need to do better on my food storage. I definitely don't have it all figured out yet. Number 5 is skills. Let's do a quick check on time. Okay, we'll try to keep this to 30 minutes. So I divided up the skills into some different categories. Outdoor skills, water skills, gardening skills, food skills, cooking skills, homesteading skills, energy skills, defense skills, transport skills, leadership skills, repair skills. I'm sure I left a bunch off there. Let's say first aid, pretty big one, right? So I'll talk kind of briefly. Outdoor skills, 1 out of 10. Give myself about a 5 or 6. I have a lot of room to improve. Part of the reason I want a homestead, so I can work on the outdoor skills. It's hard to work on your outdoor skills when you're in an apartment, to be honest, you know. Water skills, purification, gathering. In fact, I'm really thirsty right now. Let me get some water real quick, sorry. It's been really warm. I've been a little bit dehydrated during the days as of late because I'll kind of, you know, wake up, drink some coffee, have another cup of coffee, and then by the time the afternoon comes around, I'll drink water the rest of the day, and I still can't get dehydrated, so I've got to force myself to drink a lot of water. I almost spilled that all over me. That's how thirsty I am. So water skills, I give myself like a 4 out of 10. I really don't have a lot of experience purifying water, filtering water, gathering water. Gardening skills, 2 out of 10. You know, we'll see how these little tomato plants do out there. If I can get some tomatoes off these tomato plants, I might upgrade myself to a 3 out of 10. Food skills. I don't know what that means, food skills. Gathering food, cooking food, making food. I don't even know what that category means. I guess maybe gathering food. I mean, going to the store and getting food doesn't really count as a skill. Yeah, I don't know about that category. Edible is, if I was going to say edibles, or, you know, edible food, yeah, 1 out of 10. Give myself a 1 out of 10. Even 1 out of 10 might even be high on that. Maybe a half out of 10. Cooking, I don't know if cooking really counts as a prepping skill. I mean, it's important to know how to cook beans and rice and different things. I don't know if it counts as a prepping skill, but I know how to cook a little bit. Homesteading skills, I mean, that's, you know, super, super big topic. 1 out of 10. Give myself probably a 2 or a 3. You know, I mean, as far as like fixing things around the homestead, I would rank high. Getting some energy stuff going on, I'd rank high. Some solar, some wind power wouldn't be too big of a deal. Or wood burning stove, chopping wood. Raising chickens, I have very, very little experience with that. My dad used to have some chickens. Gardening, I'm kind of low on that. So maybe about a 2 out of 10 on homesteading skills, 2 or a 3, depending. Energy being, not just electricity, but cooking energy. Guess I'd rank myself about a 3 out of 10 on that. Haven't messed around too much with concentrated solar or Fresnel lenses or solar energy or wind energy. Partly due to space, partly due to budgets, partly due to time constraints, and a few other excuses I could probably think of. I suppose I'd rate myself about a 2 or 3 out of 10. Defense skills. Well, I have familiarity with my weapons and how to use them. Hand-to-hand defense, not very high. I mean, I would fight like a rabid mongoose if I had to defend myself, but I don't know if rabid mongoose is a martial arts style. More like a rabid giraffe, being as tall as lanky as I am. I got a little bit of reach, which helps, but I've never been in a fight as an adult. I'm not a violent person. I didn't grow up in the hood, so I haven't really had to defend myself. Pretty good with a bat, but so I don't rank myself very high in defense. I need to get a lot more familiar with the shotgun, with the sidearm. Need to get more accurate. I mean, I'm accurate at close range with the sidearm. I'd like to get more accurate out to like 20, 30 yards with the sidearm, if that's even possible with the with my Glock 40 or my Hi-Point C9. But looking to do a little martial arts in the future, budget permitting. Transport. So I put transport down as a skill, and the reason that I did was because there's different ways to transport yourself. Do you know how to ride a bicycle? I don't know if skateboards and rollerblades are that viable and shit hits the fan, but if you're going downhill, you can skateboard downhill probably faster than you can run downhill. At least you use a lot less energy. So, maybe I'll do a separate video on longboards and shit hits the fan. But honestly, skateboards and rollerblades and anything with wheels is a lot better way to conserve energy. So if you don't know how to ride a bike, if you've never ridden a bike, if you don't own a bike, buy a bicycle. Great exercise, great for mental health. They're fun, and if you ever want to put a bicycle into your bug out, you know what bicycle's great for in a bug out? If your car breaks down and you're 20 miles away from the nearest gas station, you're going to be real glad you have that bicycle. Trust me. Do you know how to ride a motorcycle? Have you ever ridden a motorcycle? Now's a great time to learn. You can pick up a dual sport for less than $2,000, get you damn near anywhere you need to on the planet. Dual sport motorcycle, I wouldn't say it's the best bug out vehicle, only because you can't carry that much with you. But if you could get a trailer, like an off-road trailer, in fact, man, I'd love to design an off-road trailer. That would be an awesome project. Reason number 5,372 to have a homestead. But now's a great time to learn how to ride a bicycle, learn how to ride a motorcycle. If you've never ridden an ATV, consider trying to go somewhere and rent one, ride one for a day or two. Snowmobile. And snowmobile is kind of a case specific, unless you're in the snow, you can't really use it that regularly. But I do put transport as a separate item, maybe kind of logistics and transport as a skill. Could you make a wagon as a last resort? I don't think a lot of people think about transport as a skill, but everyone wants to have tons and tons of preps and guns and ammo and food and supplies and all this stuff. How the hell are you going to move it? How on earth are you going to move all your preps? If you're thinking about, even if you're not thinking about bugging out. Let's say shit hits the fan and you have 50 pounds of rice extra and you're willing to barter someone for something. Are you going to carry that 50 pounds of rice on your back all the way to this guy that wants to barter you? Are you going to drive your car and risk getting carjacked? Or are you going to put it on your bicycle trailer? That'd be a really good way to transport 50 pounds, 20 miles. But then do you have a bicycle? Do you know how to ride a bike? So transport, I think, is a skill. Logistics is definitely a skill. And I think it's a very, very overlooked area of prepping. Everyone thinks, well, I'm either going to take my car or I'm going to walk and just drag all my duffel bags with me. But Car's not really always going to work. Trying to carry everything yourself isn't always going to work. So you really need to think about logistics, in my opinion. Leadership. I put down leadership as a skill. If you believe in being part of a prepper community, do you have some skills to be able to lead that community? Not everyone needs to be a leader, but someone needs to be a leader. Not to say that it's going to get super organized and you're the main leader and the second leader and the vice chair leader and all that, but a lot of people don't have leadership skills. They just show up to work and expect to be told what to do. And sometimes they show up to life and expect to be told what to do. Now, of course, being a good leader means being good a follower as well, but if there's no one to follow, you got to step up and lead. Whether it's something simple like, there's a thousand reasons that leadership is a very, very important and viable skill in Shit Hits the Fan. So if you don't have any experience in leadership, I would definitely encourage you to get some. Just come to think of it. Oh, excuse me. I guess joining a group that does something would kind of be a good way to do it, whether it's like a meetup group or volunteering with like CERT, for example, the Red Cross. If you volunteer with a big organization long enough, there's going to be potential for leadership opportunities, definitely. Repair. I put repair skill down. Probably one skill I would rank myself higher than any other skill, I suppose. I think if you had to say what's the thing you can do on average better than other people, I would say fix things. It's a super useful skill. I can't claim that I taught it all to myself or that I just decided I would learn how to repair things for no other reason. I've always been a tinkerer. My dad's been a tinkerer, so I turned into a tinkerer. I'm sure my kids, boy or girl, are all going to be tinkerers too. If one of my kids turns out hating cordless drills, I don't know what I'm going to do. Might have to put them up for adoption or something. But yeah, repair is a really good skill. If you've never taken apart a carb, if you want to learn how to repair stuff like gas engines, for example, go on Craigslist and search for terms using things like TLC, needs repair, doesn't run, needs work, stored for X years. Go buy a weed whacker, buy a lawnmower, buy something for less than $40. I don't know why water gives me the hiccups. Buy something for less than $40 and fix it. And sell it. Do some comps, okay? Look at the lawnmower. Look at the lawnmower and how much it would cost about brand new, maybe $100. In most markets, you can probably get about 50% of new value for something that runs. So say you're going to sell that lawnmower, maybe between 33 to 50%. So let's say $100 lawnmower brand new you could sell for between 35, 40, $50, give or take. Let's say $40, 40%. If you can find a lawnmower for $20, $10, $15, $25, even $30, it's not about the profit here. The point is get some experience. Learn how to change a spark plug. Learn how to gap a spark plug. Super, super useful skill. You can apply to anything that runs. Basically, is going to have a spark plug or a glow plug. I don't think you gap glow plugs. Maybe you do. Anyways. Sorry. I don't know if you do gap a glow plug. I don't think you do now. Just spark plugs. But anyways, I don't do a lot of diesel stuff, as you can tell. But just buy something that doesn't run and fix it and sell it or keep it. Two-stroke things especially, people have issues with. Weed whackers, chainsaws. If you can get a chainsaw for less than $50 that doesn't run and get it running, you got yourself a good chainsaw. Throw a new chain on there, get some oil in there. It's kind of addictive. Once you, in fact, I've been watching. If you want to catch the bug, so to speak, was it the Hands On channel? Check out this guy, the Hands On channel. He's working on fixing an ATV right now, and he's just having a blast of a time. He's kind of, I can tell he's having a blast. Maybe he's not the most emotive guy in the world. Oh, here we go, part 4. Oh, but yeah, he's getting this thing running. Let's see if we can take a listen real quick. So we hot soaked it. We put a bunch of stuff in there. Let's see. Okay, so what he was doing right here, this is a really advanced, it's very advanced, but it's a very simple thing to do. He's spraying a combustible fluid near the intake boot, and what that's going to do is if there's a leak, in other words, if it's sucking in air here when it should not be sucking in air, it'll raise the RPMs.
Just trying to kind of let it run some more fresh fuel up in there.
Yep. So I love this guy's videos on this. It's so much fun to watch. So if you want to learn how to kind of fix stuff and work on stuff, watch all these guys' video. The amount you could learn just watching these 4 videos, he shares a lot of what he's doing. Why he's doing this, why he's using this cleaner, why he's kind of waiting to take off the carb. The differences between diaphragm. He doesn't really talk about this, but there's, differences between float bowl carbs and diaphragm carbs. This thing is super clean. I think it has like 437 miles on it. Gorgeous Bombardier Traxster. Bombardier Traxster XT. Bought it from the son who inherited it from the dad. And this is how a lot of these things go. And let me just do a quick, I got to wrap this up. But this is how a lot of this stuff goes. Some guy buys a piece of equipment that he thinks he's going to need. Maybe he uses it once or twice. This thing had 437 hours on it. Then he stops using it. He lets it sit. Sits for months and months and months. He tries to start it, or she tries to start it. It doesn't start, and then he lets it sit some more. And then it sits and sits and sits, and it hasn't run in 2 years, and eventually it's just, forget it, I'm going to get rid of it. Then he gets it, I think the dad passed away, the estate left it for the kid had it, I say kid, probably an adult kid, but kid tried to fix it, didn't know how to fix it, didn't try very hard by the looks of it, based on the relatively modest amount of work that our friend Hands On Channel's put into it, and it's got it running decent with the choke on, which is certainly a start. If you get it running, you're more than halfway to the finish line. You're within sight of the finish line if you can get it running. Then it's just kind of get it running well. But just buy something that doesn't run and fix it. Start small. Don't get a big ATV necessarily, or a motorcycle. That can be a little bit more intense. But weed whacker, chainsaw, lawnmower, less than $50. And I promise you, that skill in being able to get an engine running and keep it running, such a phenomenal skill. Such an amazing skill. So which brings us to our last topic, first aid. I would rank myself about a 2 out of 10 on first aid. I know some basic first aid. I haven't really done much training recently. If any of you know, I don't think the Red Cross offers free training. I should put in my homework, find some local first aid training. I don't think I would sign up for the basic one, but maybe sort of like an advanced or intermediate first aid course. I've not done a lot of first aid basically since the Boy Scouts, so it's been decades since I've had any first aid training, and that's really a shame. So I'm certainly guilty of not being up on my first aid training. So there you have it. Our 5 areas: fitness, bugging out, survival skills, food storage, and skills in general. Top preppers think they have figured out. I definitely don't have all of these figured out, but the video that Survival 1 did, or Step 1 Survival did, I think was a really good reminder that it's one thing to call yourself a prepper or to be interested in prepping, no matter what you call yourself, but unless you're growing and trying to develop new skills. Sliding over here, my apartment has some major settling issues, so my floor is actually tilted pretty bad. But it's one thing to call yourself a prepper, and it's another thing to actually try to live an active prepper lifestyle, trying to be improving yourself, improving your fitness, improving your ability to either bug out or bug in. I'm working with one of my subs right now, one of my wonderful subs, Christy, to get some solar panel rocking, survival skills. I would say I'm working with Die Bullfrog, but mostly he's sending me homework and I'm not finishing the homework. So, he sent me the Boy Scout book and I haven't finished reading it. He sent me these magazines on how to deal with stuff and I haven't finished absorbing all that material. Die Bullfrog's giving me more homework than I can deal with, but that's okay. Helped me out with the care package, of course. Food storage wise, that's really just, I need to pull the trigger on that. if you guys, I'll make a separate video about that, but I definitely appreciate some ideas on how to spend $100 on food. Maybe I'll just make a video right after this on that. And skills wise, you know, I've kind of been focused on the degree now, but as soon as I finish the degree and get the full-time job, I can finally start living my life. The last 4 years of my life has been degree, 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 homework, 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 a little bit of handyman work, a little bit of volunteering, homework, homework, homework. So I feel like I've been stifled into, you know, I have to do XYZ, 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 and I'm really trying to expand up into this big, beautiful world and live a little, which is, of course, why I got the degree, so I could get a good job and I could afford to live a little, because living is expensive. I was just talking with someone in Idaho today, and she said, "You want to move out to Idaho?" And I said, "I didn't apply to that job accidentally." Oh, she was talking about all the trails and how they maintain all the trails and all the off-roading fun I could have out there. Oh, I know how to ride a motorcycle. You don't even know how much I'd be tearing up those trails on a dual sport. Half my videos would be me on a motorcycle if I get a motorcycle. Watch out, YouTube. How to pop wheelies. No, I can't pop wheelies. I mean, not very well anyways. But anyways, this video is getting way too long because I talk way too much. But please, work on your skills. I would love to hear your VR as to whether or not you have these 5 topics figured out. And if you don't have them figured out, what are you doing to work on these 5 topics? Until next time, like, comment, subscribe. Check out some of my subscribers. I'm subbed to some really, really awesome people, and there's some really awesome people subbed to me. So don't always worry about going through my videos. Check out, you know, when I say check out the Hands-On channel, spend a day or so and look through all his videos. You know, when I'm talking about Step 1 Survival, if you've never checked out Step 1 Survival, spend a day or two and check out a lot of his videos. By the way, Step 1 Survival is live almost every Saturday night. So Saturday night around 5, 6 o'clock PST, check out Step 1 Survival. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, figure out your skills, fitness, bug outs, survivalness, and food storage, and of course, keep prepping, YouTube.